And Darryl Kwao joining us for the business.
Thanks anymore. The World Bank is warning restrictions on goods exported by some African countries could hurt the Continental Free Trade Agreement. The warning is coming at a time that Nigeria has placed restrictions on imports from other West African countries. Charles Aite was at a World Bank event which saw the release of the Africa Pulse report.
World Bank Group says removing non-tariff barriers and prioritizing regional value chains ahead of the Continental Free Trade Agreement area is the best way to deal with the closure of trade borders by some economies like Nigeria. The country had recently shut down its borders to Benin and other neighboring countries over concerns of smuggling. Responding to this development, Chief Economist for Africa at the World Bank, Albert Zufak, explained that extreme poverty will be alleviated, especially among landlocked economies, if this solution is applied.
Future growth, there are at least three things that need to be done. The first is to ensure that we integrate or create regional value chains. Integrate global value chains as much as possible, but the African market itself is 1.2 billion people and can clearly be a huge source of growth within the continent. The second thing is that for regional value chains to emerge, not only do we need to start thinking region instead of thinking country, and then address those issues of protectionism within Africa or micro-nationalism within Africa. We need to address those. But most importantly, we need to address the issues of non-tariff barriers.
Meanwhile, the World Bank, in the 20th edition of the Africa Pulse report, states that growth in sub-Saharan Africa remains slow through 2019. The bank attributed these factors to the slow pace of domestic reforms in respective economies.
Countries like Ethiopia, Rwanda, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire are still growing above 7%. These are our growth champions on the continent, but they are also among the fastest growing economies in the world. Six other countries in Africa are growing above 6%. And this would include Benin, Mauritania, Niger, Senegal, Uganda, and Burkina. So overall, we do have 10 economies in Africa still growing above 6%. But it's also important to highlight that the three largest economies in Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, and Angola, are still having extreme difficulty recovering from the recessions that they have experienced over the past 2 years. And growth is therefore drawing the average in sub-Saharan Africa down.
Meanwhile, projected growth in sub-Saharan Africa is expected to rise to 2.6% in 2019 from 2.5% in 2018. This represents a 0.2 cut in forecast in April.
And that's it for business for now. There's a quick news update handing you back to Nimwa.